Thank you for staying tuned. It is still the conversation here on Lagos Television. And as we all know that the closest tier of government to the people is the local government with essential responsibility on primary healthcare, primary education, sanitation, and of course, community infrastructure. And again, in recent times here in Nigeria, financial autonomy has been introduced to strengthen their capacity to deliver. Now, this shift is expected to improve efficiency, accountability, and development at the grassroots. But beyond policy, our communities actually seeing measurable change. Are services improving, and do the local government have the systems and capacity to translate financial control into real results? Now, these are questions that our guests will be answering this morning. And joining us on the conversation is a public affairs analyst, Laide Akano. You're welcome.
My pleasure to be here. Good morning.
Good morning. So yes, I raised some questions while doing my introduction. The local government is the closest to the people, and then with the pronouncement of the financial autonomy, and you know, this is like the president say, your state governors are having more money, your local governments now have more money, and so we should hold them accountable, you know, to see better infrastructure, to see better service delivery. But again, looking at it in practical terms, what are the indicators that, because here we are in Lagos now, what are the indicators that Lagos residents can hold on to and say, yes, financial autonomy is at work?
Well, you have to look at things in perspectives concerning local government autonomy on one hand and financial autonomy on the other.
Yeah.
You know, anything local government did not just start yesterday or with the Supreme Court's judgment of 2024. If you go back to local government state reforms of 1976, you know, that's under the military. That was when Local Government Service Commission was established. And it has its functions and roles, which include supervisory capacity of local government, you know, that's one. And even if you look at the relationship between local government and state, the state of assembly has the function to see to creation of local government, then the structure, the finance and everything. So all these things are intertwined. Then if you even look at the 1999 Constitution, which says that a democratic government has to be in place in a local government. But then there's some inconsistency within that same section of that section 7 of 1999 Constitution. So all these things is subject to interpretation depending on who are the actual actors, that's the state and the local government. Because now, in every state, you have Ministry of Local Government and Chieftaincy Affairs, which, you know, situate all the local government you have in that state just like a department under the ministry, where you have the commissioner, you know, supervising all the local government. And again, if you look at it, many functions of local government, which are in the first schedule of the 1999 Constitution, have been taken over by the state in most cases. Because if, when you are talking of local government, we have to look beyond Lagos. You get my point. So I'm talking generally now. And when you look at waste management, even in Lagos, is it the state or the local government that handle waste management? It is the state, because you have the LOMA, which is a state body. Then look at signages, outdoor advertising and the rest. It's supposed to be the duty of the local government. It's in the fourth schedule. Naming of streets, slaughterhouses, and many things like that. So there's a lot, you know, that has to be first of all sorted when you're talking of autonomy. And even when you say autonomy, part of what that judgment of 2024 says is that state must not maintain caretaker committees, that every local government must have democratically elected chairman and councillors in place. But, well, let's say Lagos State is lucky, it's like election is being conducted, regularly. But you have many states which maintained caretaker committee for so long, maybe almost until the end of the tenure of the sitting governor in some states. So there's a lot of things that has to be sorted when you're talking of local government autonomy and financial autonomy. So because, like I said, the 1976 state local government reforms law, then the 1999 constitution. So all these things, there are issues.
Okay. Because again, our focus will be Lagos, and you have also established while you were talking that Lagos is relatively doing better compared to other states. So for us here in Lagos, as a Lagos resident, are you seeing improvement in sanitation? Have you seen improvement in primary health care, even primary education and infrastructure as well?
Well, in that case, you may have to take it local government by local government. Or maybe local government and then the LCDAs. Generally, there's improvement in Lagos, generally. But that improvement, cannot be dissociated from the fact that even the center, which is the state government, is very, very active,
Absolutely.
So when you talk of waste management, for instance, last Saturday, was it? Lagos State went back to issue of monthly environmental sanitation exercise, which should have been the headache of the local government. So in some cases, when you say, do we see improvement, you will say that, in fact, it got to a point, the state government has to say they will introduce incentives. They introduce incentives, not they would. They have introduced incentives for the cleanest local government. What local government should have been doing on their own, you get my point. Waste management, sanitation is the primary responsibility of the local government. But perhaps why at times state governments don't hands off generally is, if you live in a particular local government, as a resident, even some council workers may not know the boundary between local government A and local government B. You get my point? So in that case, a local government may be working, and let's say, okay, let's say it's just a road that divides or that forms the boundary for two local governments, and one is on this side of the road. If you see things working on this side of the road and it doesn't work on this side of the road, people may not be able to actually distinguish which local government this is. Not everybody would be able, but everybody will say, okay, so state. So perhaps that's why state has taken over certain functions from the local government. So if you say there is improvement in Lagos, well, primary education, fine, is improving in Lagos a lot. Primary education is improving. But don't forget that there's a way even the state supports the local government in that area. You can see building of schools, reconstruction, and many things that involves the state government. But if you say, okay, local government, I don't think we have heard of recent where they will say teachers want to go on strike for maybe non-payment of their salary or allowances or arrears or whatever. So if you take that one alone,
that's a yardstick.
As a yardstick, I would say local government are doing their best. Then primary health care too, they are doing their best, because most primary health centers, last week or 2 weeks back, the immunization week, I saw, moving around, I saw activities in certain local governments. I could have been every local government in the state, but then the few I happened to pass across, I saw activities. So, and I will assume that it happened like that all over. So in that respect, I would say there's some level of improvement. And then you can see roads being constructed across, You see street lights. But in some cases, if you ask, they will tell you it is maybe one senator or one rep, one that did, more especially the street lights. It's like when you talk of the inner streets, and all these are supposed to be functions of local government. So if they have that more money, which they do, then They are doing their best, but they are expected to do more.
Still taking it now from expecting them to do more will now lead us to the issue of accountability. On the side of the people, what are the measures in which the people can hold their council chairmen, their councillors accountable?
First of all, people have to know, what the local government should do for them. Because, until recently, when people are being sensitized, some people expect everything to be done by Abuja. Take, for instance,
presidency.
by the president, So everybody, anything that happens in K2, wherever, Tinubu, But with sensitization, people now know that, okay, not everything boils down to Abuja. Now, even in states, people hardly, except on programs like this, or rather for some people who are enlightened, in any state, people will always call on the governor. So the first thing is, people on their own, to be able to hold their local government chairmen and their councillors accountable, should know what are even the responsibility of this council chairman. So when people know that, they will know. And then perhaps the Federal Account Allocation Committee should help, make it public, the amount of money, not just that so trillion of naira is shared between the federal government, state and local government. Maybe make it, into details, break it down in details, that so local government in so state for month of June, for month of July, August, like that, got so amount. Then people will be able to know that if we have this much, then everything should not have gone to salary, everything should not have gone into maybe recorded expenditure. What are the projects? Because in fact, in Lagos, there's another thing people can use, in Lagos particularly, to hold their local government chairman accountable. Look at a local government which has a radio station of its own, which is a good one. So people have argued that is a radio station that the local government particularly needs, but then it's a big achievement. It's a big achievement. Then you see a local government on the island which has a hospital which went on social media, went viral on social media at that time, that even some people feel that it should have been built by the state government, but it was that local government. So Mushin is the local government that has a radio station, which I'm talking about. So if a local government can have a media organ that would talk to the grassroots, it's a big one. Okay. At least in areas of sensitization, mobilization and stuff like that. So in Lagos, limiting everything to Lagos, every local government has other local governments to compare with their own. So if I live in a local government and I can say that, okay, if they can do this in Mushin, or they can do this in the Oshodi Solo, or then why can't they do the same thing in my own local government? You get my point. So if the Federal Account Allocation Committee can help break down the amount that goes to every local government monthly for people to know, for members of the public to know, and if media houses, including print, broadcast, and maybe some online, can make the effort to make it a news story that this month, so amount has come into this local government, then people will have something to hold on to ask their chairman,
Oga, the media can't have that information except if it is released.
No. Media can dig for it. I believe so. Because at least freedom of information bill. If you say you investigate, then somebody can just give you some wrong figure. But ask the right quarters, ask from the right quarters. They should release it. Except the Freedom of Information Act does not work in Nigeria, and I believe it works.
Okay. All right, still talking about accountability now. You have spoken on the part of the people, first of all, knowing that they have the right to demand accountability from their leaders as well. And so on the part of the local government, chairmen and councillors, the leaders of the council areas in Lagos, what are the ways that they can also, or what are the steps that they can also take to help them be accountable to the people? I know that some local governments organize stakeholders meeting, where they have talks with community leaders, the CDCs, the ballets and all. But what other structures can be put in place to ensure that they are accountable to the people? A place where they can let the people know these are the things that we are doing, these are the projects that we intend to do, these are the monies that we have spent.
Well, I think some local governments do that. Some local governments do that. In Lagos, you have 20 local government and 37 SEDs, making 57 altogether. So, except one makes it, you make it a duty, you can't have information from all of them. So, if I mention social local government does this or does that, I don't want to go that way because it will appear as if you are just talking in favor of that local government. But some local governments do that. But what I expect the local government to do more of is a bottom-up approach, whereby you engage with your community on the specific projects they need. So you don't go and sink borehole where they need perimeter lighting, or rather you don't go and do perimeter lighting where they need borehole. It's not as if these two things I've mentioned are not important. They are, because it's not good to have your community dark overnight. More especially since most street lights now is solar powered. And also, borehole is important because water is essential to life. So, however, in some cases, maybe some local government, maybe somebody has donated borehole in a particular community. Because if you break down a local government into communities, all of them will not need the same thing at the same time. So that's why I said bottom-up approach will help local government, because you don't only perform, you have to make efforts to let people see that you perform. Because in some cases performance is not measured by what you do, but what people see you doing. You get my point? If we don't want a motor park, and you give us a motor park, but what we need in our community is maybe market stalls, lock-up shops. But you are giving us a motor park, it will appear as if you don't do anything. And even if you not tell us the amount you have spent, you might have spent that money, but who will believe you have only wasted that money to patronage, to patronize some people, some contractors. But if it's a bottom approach, engage with every community. So let them know, okay, these are the items that are available, which our budget can afford. So which one? Pick. You don't just talk to the KBAC or the Ballet alone. Because I've seen communities where they want to site a borehole. Some leaders will say, do it in front of my house. Whereas it doesn't serve the best interest of everybody citing it there. There are other central places that can be put, which they think can be established to serve the majority. So in such a situation, I think local government should engage with the people more, so that when you have a bottom-up approach, everybody will know that not every individual would want the same thing at the same time. But where majority want a particular thing, then that's what the community wants.
Absolutely. So constant engagement with the people is one way that the local government chairmen, councillors can keep themselves accountable to the people, and of course meet the needs of the people as well. So still talking about financial empowerment, I'd like us to link it to the growth of the economy, because again, in the beginning of the program, I said something that the president has said, hold your governors accountable. They are getting more money, and then the local government, with the pronouncement of the financial autonomy, they are getting more money. And so Lagos residents, because we are in Lagos now, should see better improvement, should see service delivery improved, should see better infrastructures in their various council areas. So I want you to also link financial autonomy to economic growth of the local government, and of course how it also translates to equipping the economy of the state in general.
Well, if you take Lagos State as an entity, and you want to be very honest, Lagos State more or less caters for more than Lagos citizens and residents alone. If you look at it very, very critically. There are people who live in close neighborhoods to Lagos, but in other states, that come to,
work in Lagos, do business in Lagos.
And take advantage of certain infrastructure provided in Lagos. That's a fact. And even there are people who come from far away states, to enjoy certain things in Lagos, like health facilities and stuff like that. So, it is showing, but it's gradual, like I said. And with the way things are going, I think it can only get better, But then people have to keep the local government chairman on their toes more. And people on their own should know that their personal needs, like when people tell you somebody is performing at times, some people more especially, when they tell you something, somebody is performing, is maybe when they get something that benefits them personally rather than the local government or the community. So you have to be careful who you listen to when they assess local government chairman. Because somebody who wants something personally and does not get it can go to places to say that chairman is not performing. So you have to be careful with all such situations. So like I said, improvement there is, but then not yet there. It's like there's still a lot more to do on the part of the local government. And again, remember that some local governments are rural in a way, even though Lagos State is a cosmopolitan place, but then you still have some rural local government. So what they need, what they require, and if you look at the topography of some local government, you may not be able to compare them with like some local government on the mainland. Some of the issues, the challenges they face is beyond their capacity, So comparing local government on the mainland to some on the island, you may not be fair if you want to judge them on the same scale or using the same benchmark. So you have to be specific. Local government, you have to look at their challenges as a local government, then the resources they have, then before you can say. However, like I said earlier, the local governments are performing, but then you will see that Lagos State, like I said, in some cases, caters more for people who are citizens and residents of Lagos alone.
All right, even as we begin to wrap up the conversation, I'd like you to just talk a bit about the councillors, because again, we've been talking so much about the local government chairman. These councillors were also elected, and so these councillors represent various wards in their council area. And the question of accountability, again, we'll go back to accountability. What are their responsibilities, and do the people really know why they have elected them into those positions?
Well, their primary function is to represent their ward, in the local government. Just like the primary role of your honorable member is to represent your constituency. So, and to take the cries of the people of the ward to the local government. So whenever the local government is about, doing infrastructure, providing amenities, the councillor is supposed to, make a case for his own ward. But look at some wards, The elders, the youth, in some cases, may not even be after that. They may be after his councillor give us something, for their pocket.
And that's what hamper development.
So it will definitely hamper development. Definitely. So people on their own should know that when people are in public offices, especially when they are elected, it's not as if they have to carry the personal luggages of everybody. Because some people are in the habit of, we work for you to get into the office. So fine, it's a public office. It's supposed to serve the public, whether you voted for him or against him. Since he's elected, he has to work for everybody. So people have to understand that, one. Then maybe there should be a law. Some councillors, when they are elected, they leave the award. You know, some people are elected maybe in a ward, maybe in Ikorodu. You may find them now living in Maryland, and they're councillor in Ikorodu. So not every one of them, but there are some of them who are like that. So people should know that if you campaign to represent our ward, you must live in our ward. So that whatever challenge we have, you don't hear about it, you see it, and you are part of it. You suffer from whatever we suffer from as a community. I think that one will help.
All right.
To hold the councillors accountable too.
Yeah, we've been talking about local government and financial autonomy, and it's not just about the access to more funds, but again, the impact that Lagos residents can feel tangible in terms of infrastructure, primary health care, even the primary education system and all. Thank you so much, Laide Akano, for your time on the conversation.
My pleasure.
Yes, the program continues shortly. Stay with us.